Imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Life could change. Imagine that.
Okay, so yeah, let's get straight into the mixtape era. So first of all, what did you think of the mixtape era? Okay, how about this? What is your opinion of the mixtape era? Like, what do you feel is a genuine mixtape? Because I know your beginning of the mixtape era is actually different than my intro into mixtapes.
Okay, so mixtape, like as in the way, like the way that they have it, where now you were able to purchase them. Before you had to go to like Melrose, you had to go to like mom and pop shops, and you would go to
Mm-hmm.
like places where they had vinyl, and you would and
Mm-hmm.
you and like I would find like it was heavy, like Busta Rhymes. He would put out like a 22 track mixtape, but it was a bunch of, back then the mixtape was someone else's instrumentals, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like now it's like an actual song.
Yeah.
Back then it was, if you bought a mixtape of Busta Rhymes in flip mode, you might get, uh you're listening to like Jay-Z's hits, or like whatever was popping at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
they rhymed over it, so their flow would tend to be like the rapper you were, that music was from, like they would.
Mm-hmm.
So my way of mixtape, uh, introduction, I guess, was like that. So, like for example, I heard of Jay-Z, because like he's pretty much my, aside from Biggie, I would say he's probably like my number one. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, like Jay-Z, he did something, and it was called, I still have it too. It was called the Red something, the Red album, maybe the Red. It was like, it had like, it was a bunch of Beatles instrumentals,
Mm-hmm.
and then it had like some, like almost like a Wu-Tang-ish kind of like breaks in between, but the instrumental was like a Beatles song, and he was rapping over it. And that was cool to me, because it was like the Beatles didn't rap, it was just their music, so he had that flow was his, versus like if I heard like okay, here's a good one. I heard like a Ja Rule on a mixtape, but the beat was from
Mm-hmm.
DMX. Well, then to me, that's when Ja Rule started getting all the criticism of trying to sound like DMX, because
Mm-hmm.
he rhymed just like him, because that was his flow, right? But he also had that voice of the same growly kind of thing. So, um, that would be my introduction to the mixtape. It wasn't, like it is now.
Okay. Okay. So my introduction is it's similar to yours, except for mine was just internet based. So when the mixtapes really popped off, as far as my era is concerned, basically it was you had to go on datpiff.com. That was the big one website, but there was other various websites, and people would still go on LimeWire to download too. But it was pretty much 21 tracks of a rapper, your favorite rapper, rapping over someone else's beat, but it would be like someone's hits. And
Hmm.
Lil Wayne probably was the most popular one during this time. He literally would just rap over
Yeah,
whoever had the hits, and he would just go crazy on them.
yeah,
And it would be to a point to when I went to parties, the DJ would play the instrumental, but only the version that Lil Wayne was on. The DJ would even play the original version.
yeah,
So yeah, so during this time, Lil Wayne to me was number one because he had like the dedication, the prefix, the suffix, stuff like that. But Jadakiss had his series, Fabulous had his series, Banks had his series, which is why I originally, I think when I started like writing rhymes and stuff, I was always captured by punchlines as opposed to just straight up rapping,
mm,
because that's when I was able to process stuff like just straight up punchline rap.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like my introduction. And then as basically as the next era came, which I would say like it's my cousin slash sister era, that's when mixtapes became available for streaming platforms and stuff like that. But by that time, it was just straight up original music, and as you know, it's basically another way of the labels finding a loophole not to pay the producer, so that they could just label it as a mixtape, but still have it streaming all that stuff. So now today, obviously, we have rappers dropping quote unquote mixtapes when it's really just an album. But as you were saying back then, like literally, like a rapper would just rap on other people's beats, and even your era, they would really like fuse other genres and all that stuff together. Yeah, so that was basically my era. I feel like I did enjoy it, um, but I do dock off points, and this is probably something only I do within my generation because I don't know anyone else who does that. But usually, when people have discussions of who's the best rapper or not, I usually dock the rappers with the mixtapes, dock the points off because it was
Yeah.
a mixtape. So yeah, it was hot, but it wasn't like your own original music.
Or your
Whereas
flow.
some yeah, overflow. Yeah, that's a good point too. So yeah, I dock that off, but I would say majority of people in my generation probably feel otherwise. They don't agree with that. They actually go the other way. But to me, it's like no, like you can have a dope mixtape where you're rapping other people's beats, but to me, the originality has to mean something. Like it just can't be to where like it means nothing. Like that should be number one. To me, it should be the originality. You know, it's one thing to pay homage to another rapper with the flow, so to speak, but it's a whole different thing to do it like a whole entire album or uh, basically rip off someone's sound and then put out a mixtape and then someone say, well, that should count into the discography. To me, that's a whole different topic. To me, when it comes to arguing or debating someone's discography.
Yeah. So I will say this. Two things. My era, the mixtape DJ, which is what they would call them, you would have like a DJ Clue, and that's where they got that.
Mhm,
Like now you got Juju on the beat or London on the beat or whoever, right? Well,
mhm,
before that, you had Clue, Clue, Clue. You had the Tunnel. You had
mhm.
like I remember
Long
this. Look, look,
leg.
look this up one day. The show I actually went to that
Mhm,
thing. Like that's talk about '90s rap. Jay-Z was in that too, I think.
mhm.
Um, let me remember, but for sure it was like Method Man, all them. But I mean, there's a lot of people, Slick Rick. But that
Mhm.
oh, I was saying that okay, so the mixtape thing now, the artist is the focus. The mixtape that knew was like when it started was like you had like Green Lantern and he'd have like his series, or you have DJ Drama, then he'd have drama, and then it would have like he's presenting the Snowman Jeezy,
Mhm.
see, because that's how I got to know. Then like that was it Doug Motivation 101 or whatever. That's how I got to
Yeah.
know that. Yeah, because I was always at hip hop shows, so like I would go. I mean, I was everywhere, right? So when you come out of the parking lot or go into into the place, people were always handing you CDs.
Mhm.
And then, then that once that started taking off, then those guys would try to sell their CDs. But you'd have that mix tape. It was like a mix tape session, more or less. Like, that was the
Yeah.
star, not and then the artist was like how now you have what's his name? Uh DJ Khaled.
Are you talking about DJ Khaled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like you have Khaled, right? But reality, does Khaled produce anything?
No.
No. He's just the the master of ceremonies, hype guy that can gets people together. Like he's a producer in that sense. Like he gets people together, but he's not actually like Diddy. He's not actually like making beats. He's not, you know what I mean? So he
Like the opposite. I was gonna say something real quick. The add on to what you're saying. The opposite of that would be DJ Mustard. Like DJ Mustard actually produces. So when he makes his albums, he does the same thing. He puts collabs together, but he actually makes the beats. That's what I was going to add.
yeah. And I was gonna say kind of the same thing. I was gonna say like you can have like a DJ whoever, but they actually DJ'd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So you know what I mean? So like when you heard of these people, you know, you could have like a Jay-Z
Mm-hmm.
on a mixtape not sanctioned by Jay-Z, but
Mm-hmm.
because the DJ made a mix of him. Now me growing up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like me growing up used to have like cassettes. So you would actually listen to the radio and record your
Mm-hmm.
favorite songs, and that would be your mixtape,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So, okay, to add on to that, that's a good point too. I was gonna say that part is still live, but obviously it's not cassette or anything like that. That stuff is something that you would hear on SoundCloud, because you have upcoming producers or producers that are trying to come up, and they'll take your favorite hit song that's currently going on, and they'll lace their beat over and take the vocals. The vocals won't be exactly how it was on the cassette, but still I feel like that they're still keeping it going, but it's just more as a single, and it's through SoundCloud because SoundCloud is more independent.
Mhm.
Whereas obviously if you go on Spotify and all that stuff, it's super commercial based. So yeah, I wanted to say that part. But yeah, um, I was gonna say DJ Mustard. I would say he's closer to being coming from that like original section. Because like I say, he actually DJs. Like DJ Mustard, I saw him DJ way before he became
Like
big. Like
famous.
way before he ever like made a beat or was connected to YG. He used to DJ at this party called the Castle, which I think was further along in the Wilshire area in LA for those who've been down that area. And this during summertime, he used to DJ, but this before he ever got connected with YG. So then when he started making beats, that was like a surprise. And then it went from that to obviously now he has his whole brand and all that stuff. But yeah, I mentioned him because I feel like he's the closest to what used to be at one point in time. Um, there's another producer who does something similar, but he doesn't really DJ. Oh, man, I don't know why I'm forgetting his name right now because he's on fire right now. Um, Metro Boomin.
Oh,
I
Metro
think that's
Boomin.
his name.
Yeah, he went
Um,
up and then went down
yeah,
like real quick, but
he's back up again.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I see. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, he went up, then it went like this, and then he went back up again just recently because him and 21 Savage put out a project together, which like 10 years ago, a decade ago, would have been a mixtape.
yeah.
And they had Morgan Freeman do the narration. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
yeah, I
saw
wanted to
that.
mention.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that video because I
mhm.
remember them saying, "Did Morgan Freeman actually do this, or was it like a like something that?"
Yeah. He
Yeah.
he did the narration. So I forgot who's the rapper that wrote it for him, but he did do the narration because I heard the whole project. But he actually talks throughout the album.
Oh, okay. Now
Yeah,
see,
he narrates. Yeah.
like Metro Boomin. To me, I think he's a good producer, like Zaytoven.
Hmm.
I would think was is a good producer, but then they like anybody else, like when that sound is your sound, like a Timbaland, he's been able to hold on
Hmm.
because he has the clout to where he can get like A-list artists. But when it really comes
Hmm.
down to it, if you take the artist off, his beats sound the same. Like his sound is the
Hmm.
same. You know, it's still gonna have the chicka chicka and the way it goes. That's his sound. But like to me, I think that transition of longevity is you can be like like a mixtape producer and then elevate or transition or whatever you want to call it into another thing. So like say I was a, well, I am a producer, but say I was like a known one where like I had like a Eminem on my track once, or a Jada Kiss, type of thing. But it was because I made it and I put their voices on with the acapella, right? But that song gets
Hmm.
me noticed enough to where I do a few A-listers. Well, now I'm just known for that sound. So then you're hot, then you're not, right? But then you can come back to me,
Hmm.
where which is kind of like my lane. Like I like to do like scores and soundtrack stuff, and I like to just whatever, like dance music, whatever I feel like. And then obviously my go-to would be hip hop, but I don't just stick in that zone, you know. So I think if you reinvent, that's the word. If you reinvent yourself, then you're a longevity where you can be a Timberland because he's done scores. Eric Sermon, he's done scores. Like you didn't just do this. Eric Sermon produced R&B, so like you're able to do other stuff. I think that was the fall of the mixtape. I think once people started realizing, like, because I think Lil Wayne's whole catalog, most of it was mixtape. Like think about it, when he had
You talking about just overall when it became hot?
Lil Wayne in general, like as far as, if you're
Yeah.
saying like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much was a mixtape. Like think about
Yeah.
the songs that popped. They weren't album songs. They were mixtape songs,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So once that
Hmm.
went away, where's his numbers? He's not what he was, right? Because that buzz isn't the same. When he gets the buzz, is because now he's on a DJ Khaled,
Hmm.
right? Because
Yeah.
didn't he just have an album not that long ago?
Yeah, he put one out actually beginning of this year. It was called Funeral. I didn't listen to all of it. It was too many tracks for me, like the whole 25 tracks, which I do want to get into with the streaming era thing. But the add on to what you're saying, yeah, yeah, he did that. But yeah, like his most notable performances, like this year, have not been from his album. It's been when he's featured on a song with a guy who like actually raps, because then that motivates him to like not get smoked. So like he'll then rap, but like on his album, yeah, he had like 25 tracks, and literally like that's all it was. It was like literally him just rapping. But that did. Oh, this is a good point. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about me becoming a Punchline fan and all that stuff. That's another reason that could have a rapper go down like this. Because when you're doing punchlines, it's the equivalent of beating a haymaker boxer where you're only knocking people out with that right or that left. But if you don't got that combo, that uppercut, you'll know how to duck, move. Like
Yeah,
eventually you're gonna go down. So that's why I wanted to add to the whole punchline
yeah,
rap. Yeah, because like I said, I grew up like really loving punchline rap, but as I got older and I'm like partially like halfway studying, but the other part just listening as a fan. I'm like, okay, I see why this rapper is lasting on this rapper, and why this rapper is going down like this. Because a lot of those, I mean, there's other reasons, obviously, but a lot of that does deal with like just being a punchline rapper. It's like you can only have so many great lines, and eventually, it's you're just going to be missing. It's either you hit or you miss, and
yeah,
eventually, you're just going to start missing.
yeah. Because it's kind of like how, how they say like you're a gimmick rapper. So it's kind of like okay,
Hmm.
um, here's a good one. Busta Rhymes was one of my favorite rappers, right? But what if I told you which songs it was, nobody would know. And it was like from his like first two albums, and they're like real deep songs, and he's actually rapping. It's not like just this rah, rah, and you got to figure out what he's saying, and it's not the multi-syllable, trying to get as many words in as you can. There was a
Words how it's possible, yeah.
yeah, there was like the higher learning type of Busta Rhymes. Like I wish he had done albums like that,
Mhm.
but that's his thing, right? So when I
Mhm.
hear when I hear what how he is over time, people already are not astonished anymore by the, as you say, quote unquote gimmick voice or style. So I equate that to the punchline rapper because if you know Eminem, that's why I think Eminem is so like people either love that dude or they hate him because skill wise,
Mhm.
skill wise, Eminem's great. But if you take away his punchline rapper because you already know he's gonna do that, there's really nothing there.
Mhm.
So you can rap fast, so can Twister. But can Twister tell a story about, you know, his uncle ODing in front of him and
Mhm.
keep you there? Eminem, I've heard him tell stories and not just be all, and punchliney.
Mhm.
So I think that's why he can stay around. Whereas you can hear
Mhm.
like a Bone Thugs and Harmony, they were great at that. But again,
Mhm.
once you get done with the punchline, people are like, well, what do you have now? Like the music
Yeah.
doesn't, like the music doesn't change. Like there's certain people like Nas, like Nas could be as great as he is, but his sound selection, it's so the same that you could be saying some evolutionary type of thing, but you most people tune it out because that sounds the same. Like, does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think a role that plays into that really more than ever now is the internet because like before it wasn't the internet, it was just albums, whatever the case may be. Like you go into the store to buy an album, but now everything literally is on YouTube or everything is on these streaming platforms, so you can see how someone started to how they are now. And I think that exposes rappers as well because then you go, okay, like you did this back then, you're still doing this now, and
Yeah,
then that becomes a turnoff for the consumer because they're like, dude, this is not new. Like we heard you do this back then. Like, why are you still doing this now? Like, there's no evolution.
yeah,
So it goes back to what you're saying. I feel like um, and you made a great point about the Eminem thing. That's why he's either loved or hated. Because in a debate group that I'm in on Facebook, we troll a lot. So like for the hardcore Eminem fans or stands, as I like to say, I'm on the other side. So me and others, we troll where we'll make it seem like he's terrible, even though we know he's not terrible. He's one of our all time great. But it's because literally like he does that flow like that super a fast flow, and then he'll rhyme, like fantastical with something else, like fantastical, grammatical, or something like that. And
yeah.
it's like, okay, that's cool, but it don't really mean nothing when you break it down.
Right.
So like we're telling like when the Eminem NGK thing happened, like a bunch of us, we're like, dude, I know you don't want to hear this, but NGK won because he was actually saying something. Does that mean he's better than Eminem all time? No, of course not. But like Eminem literally wasn't saying nothing. He was just rapping fast and rhyming words. He wasn't actually trying to break down the person that he's going against. And that's another thing with battle rap. Like battle rap at times is so like random. When you're battle rapping someone, you're trying to break them down. Like saying random lines is not breaking them down. Like it's cool, and that's one of the great points of like older battle rap. It was really like who got the better verse or who could rhyme, for the longest amount of time, who got the stamina. But like now, it's like, like you have to break your opponent down. And if you don't break your opponent down, you're losing the battle because you're going against that person.
Yeah, yeah. Well, do you remember when they had uh what's his name? From Onyx, Sticky Fingers, I think is it was.
Big fingers, yeah.
Yeah, and he went up against Keith Murray. Now Keith
Oh
Murray,
yeah, yeah, I remember.
right? Now Keith Murray is definitely like my top five, but
Hmm.
like skill wise. But again, I know his reason was he was sick and he had something to drink and that messed him up. But your people already know, kind of like a boxer, you know, like Manny
Hmm.
Pacquiao. You know he's gonna do this little stutter step, did, and then punch. So if you time him right, did, right
Hmm.
when he goes to punch, you hit him like I forget the guy's name, but the one that knocked him out. And so like when I'm equating that to like a flow because you already know where they're gonna go. So it's not, yeah, like it's not like this like wow. It's kind of like I remember he said that from that album. I remember he said this from this, right?
Hmm.
So that
Hmm.
you know what I mean? So that person you're going up
Yeah.
against, you know, whoever you're going up against, you better have another arsenal because they studied you. You know, like that's the
Hmm.
at least for me, that's the battle rap I know is they study you because like if you get on like a track like
Hmm.
who was it? LL Cool J. It was LL Cool J, Cannabis, um, 4321. You remember that song?
Oh yeah, the remix.
You know what I'm
That
talking about?
started the LL Cannabis beef.
Correct. And then
Yeah.
they had their whole beef, right? Okay, think about it like that. They get on a
Hmm.
track, or even a Biggie and Jay-Z, they get on a track, and one goes in, da 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 da
Hmm.
da da, right? And then the other one's like, nah, I ain't having that. They hear it back, they go, oh no, dude, he smashed me on my own track. That made you elevate, right? So that's where like the Lil
Hmm.
Wayne and all these guys, you could tell like, oh, they get on a Drake track. Oh, that's a favor for a favor because
Hmm.
lyrically they're not saying anything. And like how you said with
Hmm.
Eminem, it's like it's I'm so dramatical, grammatical. Saturday I go on a sabbatical. You know, you know,
Oh yeah.
it. Even when people make fun of him, that's what they do. They because it's so like common for him. So if he came out with like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So if he came out with like a with his black hair and he rapped still like that on certain songs, but had like a new sound, like a new just a new sound, like a new him, you know? Like I used to be that guy, but now
Hmm.
I'm this guy. And it's not like you're rapping and then you already can count on the last like uh 2 bars. He's gonna go "Ah," and get mad and his voice goes up. You know what I mean? You know how he raps like
Yeah.
real calm and then he jumps up at the end?
Yeah.
That's just as commonplace as when you take uh somebody probably get pissed at me for this, but like think about it, like a Tupac. He had that it always ended the same,
Hmm.
right? So to me, when you go like mano y mano, you better have more than just that.
Yeah. Man, man, you brought us so many good points. Like it makes me just want to go everywhere now. Because like when you were saying the Keith Murray part, I'm like, damn, like that was one of my inspirations. Like when I first started just writing, like nothing else, just writing, because he used to he was known for using big words. And that was inspiring to me because I'm like, man, this is cool. Like, because before that, I was used to just hearing the gun bars. But like listening to Keith Murray, it was completely different. So it made me want to use like the big words. But yeah, and then like when you were saying the Tupac thing, and that's why I always felt like if they were in their primes living today and they had like a rap battle, Biggie to me would win because I feel like Tupac would be like one dimensional and
Yeah,
Biggie would be able to go from here to there to there to there. You know, people get butthurt this stuff because they love Tupac. Like Tupac's like one person you cannot criticize musically because I'm not criticizing as a person, but his
yeah,
music. But
yeah,
yeah, I completely agree with you. Like when you said that, that's the first thing I thought about.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like here's one. When you say like Biggie against Tupac, yeah, I'd say Biggie win all day. But even if you go Biggie
Mhm.
Jay-Z, I think Biggie would still be
Mhm.
better because Biggie had a personality, whereas Jay-Z kind of he had his personality, but he only kind of stayed
Mhm.
within there. You know, Biggie wasn't afraid to be goofy on a song, and then be real serious on a song, and then have one about
Mhm.
his kids. You know what I mean? Whereas Jay-Z is now
Yeah.
going.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was just about to say, yeah, I feel like Jay Z had more of a personality when he was with Jaz-O, and then once he like separated, like obviously he became Jay Z, but it just was like the mellowness. It just stayed mellow. Whereas like with Jaz-O, I feel like the personality was coming out more. I don't know if you agree with that, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I do. I would also say um some of the better songs I heard Jay-Z on. Okay, so like people, I was watching this thing on YouTube the other day, and this guy put together all the times Jay-Z quoted Biggie or somebody else, and it was like a good.
Oh, you sent that to me. Yeah, I heard that one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like a good 15 minutes. But I was like, you know what though?
Hmm.
Even if you do that, listen to his discography. There's more than 15 minutes of his lyrics, right? So, and he
Hmm.
wrote for other people. So I don't even go there. I'm That's more of a paying homage to or homage to someone because you're bigging up
Hmm.
Biggie or whatever, and you're big enough to do it. Versus like you got a new rapper coming
Hmm.
out and they start quoting, you know, Big E or Jay Z or whoever, they're quoting that and they're a brand new rapper. To me, that's kind of weak. I would think,
Hmm.
but I think like Jay Z when he was on a song with the Locks, I don't know if you remember that one. It was on
Was
I'm
he on Jay Z's album?
trying to remember. It might have been on. It's not on Reasonable
Reservoir
Doubt.
Dogs?
Which one?
Was it was it Reservoir Dogs?
That had the Locks, and
I
then it
think
had.
so.
Did it have DMX too?
But I think it had DMX too though.
Yeah, DMX
Yeah.
on it too, right? Okay, but there was one.
Hmm.
Oh, I know what it is. It's on Diddy's album. I love the dough. I mean, not Diddy. Biggie's
But
album,
that's Jay Z and Big. Yeah. I love
right?
that song by the way. But yeah.
Yeah. So like, there's a song.
But that's the one with the Angela Winfrey sample. Yeah.
Yes, yes. But there's a
Yeah.
song with. Let me look it up real quick. There's a song with. It's like
Okay.
Jay-Z and uh who
And
did I
just
say?
the locks.
The Locks. Thanks. I couldn't even
You
think.
said the Jay Z.
Yeah, yeah. So this is
Yeah, I'm sure.
that's Reservoir Dogs. But this says it has like I don't know if that's the one.
I think it is. Cause it was like the locks and DMX.
Yeah. Okay. So no, I'm telling you, it's I love the dough. That's Jay-Z and Biggie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That particular song, I can feel when I hear that song that they were in the booth
Hmm.
together. It wasn't like a phone in. I don't know, but this is what I
Hmm.
feel. I can feel
I'm
the
sure.
the competitiveness of the like, oh shit, dude
Hmm.
got me on that. And he goes in and he's like, "Duh, duh, duh," and you could tell he's like rapping to to him, you know? Like it just at least that's how
Hmm.
it felt. I think Jay-Z is
Hmm.
great by himself, but when he's on with other people, I think he outshines most of those people,
Hmm.
you know.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that.
So there's certain people I think that shouldn't do mixtapes like with other people, you know. Like I liked
Hmm.
the Fabulous and Jadakiss. Uh,
Jada Kid.
yeah,
Yeah, Freddie versus Jason.
yeah, I liked it, but
Hmm.
I would listen to because them together it worked. Like to me, it worked,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then you can take that same formula with another hot rapper, and it won't work.
Yeah. Like when Jay Elect try to put Jay-Z on every track, that type of thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. The J Electronica. But did you hear his new one? He came out with a whole
Yeah,
album.
you know that's an old one.
That's what I thought. I was like,
Yeah,
that's from
but you
like,
know that was an old one.
I was like, that's from way, way
That's
back.
2009. Yeah, that's from 2009. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I remember I saw that track listing back then. And it like this was like, okay, let me put it this way. As far as my generation is concerned, that was one of the most anticipated track listings
yes,
in a long time. Because this was after he came out with Exhibit C,
that's
and
right.
that still is like an incredible record to me. So like when he had came out with this track listing, I'm like, dude, this is it. This is what we've been waiting for. Blah blah blah. And obviously he never came out with it. But yeah, it recently came out because you probably know the story, but some people might not. Apparently, someone bought it for like 9 grand or something like that, and they decided to just put it online. So it got leaked. That's how I found it. Like I saw the trending on Twitter on a Sunday, and I downloaded it. I'm like, forget this. I don't know if it's gonna be on title later, but I think it eventually went on title.
Yeah, it is.
But at first it got leaked because someone bought the album. They just like screw it. I'm gonna just put it out there type, and then yeah, but yeah, like that one, you know, I'm like, dude, everybody said the same thing. You should have put out that one first. Like that was the better album.
Yeah, I think the Jay Z, J Electronica, unless they're a group, like a super group,
Mhm.
it seemed like uh it seemed like if I was the executive producer, like I listened to J Electronicas and was like, nah, we can't use this, we can't use this. Dude, we only have like 4 days before we
Mhm.
put this out, right?
Mhm.
And it's just not gelling. And then he's like, shit, I'm Jay-Z. And then he goes in the booth and just drops a verse on each one to balance it out.
Mhm.
That's what it made me feel like after when I started listening to it. I was like, wow. But,
Mhm.
you know, whatever.
Cataclysmic soul shift of the righteous. I might just catch a train out at night just to see what's happening. Skid row seems everlasting, it's saddening. Just give a hammer, man, it's maddening. Leftovers handed over is a start. Use your heart, listen to the words of God. Fellow man, maybe now you'll understand. Do your part.